What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, bringing home the bacon NFL DFS video. This video is a main slate breakdown for Week 11. So we're going to go through our matchup tool, which we haven't done in a couple of weeks. Haven't had a video out in a couple of days. I don't know if you can tell. Been sick. I've had no voice. It's been a long couple of days, but we are back. I wanted to bring this to you. So what we're going to do is we're going to cover the main slate. So that's from Dallas at Carolina to Seattle at the Rams. We do have Sunday Night Football. We have on our cheat sheet. So if you've never been to FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, highly implore you to go there. Go check out FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. Check out all we have to offer. But with the NFL, we have Thursday Night Football Showdown on the cheat sheet. We have Sunday Night Football Showdown on the cheat sheet and Monday Night Football Showdown on the cheat sheet. So we're not going to cover those games. We're going to cover the main slate, which is from noon all the way through the 3:25 Central Time game. So we're going to go through that. We're going to look at them. We're going to look at all of things on our matchup tool. So what that is right here, that's part of the premium content. We do have a ton of free content as well. And again, the website is FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. And if you just go here, we do NBA, we do NFL, we do PGA, we do MMA currently. Obviously, MLB and NASCAR are in their off season. So with the NFL, we've got the volume report, which is out there, so you can go a ton of information on the volume report. Fantasy football snap count, so you can see every single player that's had snaps week by week and total snaps. We've got our projected ownership, which will usually put it up Saturday or Sunday morning, depending on when it is. And we will go through it, and you can kind of see where the ownership percentages are kind of aligning to. On top of that, we've got the player projections. We've got the points allowed by position. We got the Vegas odds, the cheat sheet, the Bacon Station, which is what we're talking about right now. Our chalk, which you can find our chalk there. So if you play cash games, chalk really helps you out because you want the players that are going to be highly owned. For cash, that is the way to do it. So you're going to be with the pack. You're going to most likely cash if those plays cash with everybody else. For GPPs, you want to take the cash. You want to see the most amount, or you want to take the chalk. You want to see the most amount of ownership. And you want to go lower than that. So a lot to offer there. If you have questions, though, let us know. I'll get those answered. Anytime a video gets at least 50 likes, you leave a comment. You are a YouTube subscriber. You have a chance to win a free week of DFS content. And if a video gets 100 likes, you have a chance to win a free month. 125 likes, a chance to win a free year. And if anyone here, any of the videos get 150 likes, you leave a comment, you are a subscriber, you have a chance to win a lifetime pass brought to you by FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. So let's jump into it. Let's take a look at what you guys are here for. The main slate. Okay? So we come in here. We've got obviously the Thursday Night Football game, which we're not going to cover. We're in trying to see. You can see everything, right? Yes. So we're kind of just looking through here. And you can kind of see the players that make sense. We'll go game by game. We'll break it down. We'll look at it. We'll even go as far as to go on DraftKings and just kind of look at everything like that. So looking at this, we've got Pittsburgh at Cleveland. Now, as of now, these are not updated. So these over-unders are for last week. These will be updated. I kind of want to wait until Saturday or early Sunday morning to update the over-unders and the implied team total so you guys can kind of see where it is. And then if you want to check it out, we have the Vegas odds. You can see where they opened up at and where they're at right now. So you can see the change. So the over-unders and stuff, they will be updated soon. But let's just we can just look at the current one. So again, obviously these change. I usually put the over-unders up when the lines come out like Tuesday. I update it Thursday, and then I update it Sunday morning. So as you can kind of just look, if you want to sort it, however you want to sort it, but if you wanted to sort it currently by the highest over-unders, we can see Texas at Cardinals has the highest over-under right now. Lions versus the Bears, Dolphins, Raiders, Ravens, Bengals for Thursday night, Rams, Seahawks. You can see where it's at. So if we just look at this, Pittsburgh and Cleveland, they are the lowest over-under right now. Not good. They're at 36, where Cleveland's actually a 4-point favorite right now, which I don't understand. They're going to be starting, what's his name? Dorian Thompson-Robinson. So let's just look at it. If you've got questions, we will answer them as quickly as we possibly can down below. So looking at this, Pittsburgh, lowest over-under. Cleveland's defense has been pretty good. I'm probably not using much Pittsburgh at all. And you can see they don't. I mean, look at this. Cleveland's defense ranks second on both FanDuel and DraftKings against the opposing quarterback. They rank fifth against the opposing running backs, third against wide receivers on DraftKings, second on FanDuel, and then they are first overall against the tight end position. I don't trust Pittsburgh. I'm probably not going to have any exposure to Pittsburgh in DFS. Probably looking at Cleveland here. So I'm out on Pittsburgh, and it's the lowest over-under as of now. So I am out on this game, offense-wise, at least with Pittsburgh. Most likely with Cleveland. You can see, so we look at Cleveland players. It's not going to be Walker. It's going to be Dorian Thompson-Robinson. That's already been said. That came out after I updated this, so let's just update it now. So we've got Dorian Thompson, whatever his name is, DTR. So we look at Pittsburgh's defense. They rank 12th against the quarterback. They rank 19th against the running back. So Kareem Hunt is in he's in the hunt, I should say. I always can get a touchdown there. Always can vulture one. You got Jerome Ford. Has been coming on stronger lately. I don't know the dynamic with DTR and the rest of them, how they're going to mesh like they did with Deshaun. So Watson being out the rest of the year, it's probably DTR or PJ Walker, depending on how it goes this game. So I'm not using quarterback in this game. I'll use a little bit of the running backs here. The wide receivers are in a good spot. So Pittsburgh against the opposing wide receiver ranked 23rd out of 32. So they're in a good spot. It all comes down to how the quarterback play is going to be. I think you could probably get some Cleveland offensive players at a discount ownership-wise. I don't think they're going to be highly owned. So tournament-wise, I'm okay with tournaments. And you can kind of go through. I don't want to go through everything. So if you want to see this matchup tool, it will be linked down below. But you can see the snap percentages on the season versus last week, rush percentages, target percentages, and all of that. So the wide receivers make a good spot. Amari Cooper I'm okay with. Elijah Moore I'm okay with. That's probably it. But again, I don't know the cadence. I don't know who DTR feels comfortable with. So that could be a big key here. So that's just something we don't know right now. But I will take some exposure to Cleveland with running backs and the wide receivers. I don't really want anything to do with Njoku, Harrison Bryant, or Jordan Akins. I am probably off of them there. So I'm not looking at them at all. So that's kind of what we're looking at here. Then we get to Chicago and Detroit. Now we are back with Justin Fields. He supposedly is back, so hopefully a Justin and this defense here. You can see Detroit's defense against the opposing quarterback. They rank 20th. They're really good against the run. So Deontay Foreman has been good this year. He's not got the best matchup against Detroit. Maybe you throw him in tournaments. I'm okay with Khalil Herbert. I think he's out, isn't he? Or is he back? I don't want anything to do with the running backs, but I will pair Justin Fields with DJ Moore and Cole Kmet here. So those are the ones I feel confident about. The other ones are tournament plays, but Fields. So the players that I would use in the Chicago offense, Fields, a little bit of Foreman, DJ Moore, and then Cole Kmet. Those are the ones that I feel the most confident about. Detroit-wise, we know what they've been doing. They've been absolutely killing it this year. Chicago's defense has been shredded this season against the opposing quarterback. They ranked 23rd on DraftKings, 24 on FanDuel. Jahmyr Gibbs, it kind of looks like the tides have turned finally. Jahmyr Gibbs is that dude that we knew he was, but for whatever reason wasn't being utilized. David Montgomery came back last week. I was a little bit scared about it because I have Jahmyr Gibbs in my season long. David Montgomery, it looks like he's on the back burner. We looked at the snaps. As you can see, last week, Gibbs played 57% of the snaps, 37% to David Montgomery, and then rushing 45% to Gibbs, 38% to Montgomery, and then Jahmyr Gibbs was involved in the passing game, 15%. David Montgomery was not. So David Montgomery still leads, he's in the top 5 of red zone Russian attempts, I believe. I have that. It's on the website. I think it's Jahmyr Gibbs' day. If you want to go contrarian, you want to make different lineups, I'm okay with putting Montgomery in there, but it just kind of feels like Jahmyr Gibbs is that guy now, and that's absolutely what we need. So the players that I feel most confident about in this lineup that I would use would be Goff, Gibbs, maybe throw a little bit of Montgomery in there. Amon-Ra St. Brown, obviously always a threat to go 100-plus yards every single week. And Sam Laporta as the tight end. They're in great matchup here. Laporta, Chicago's defense, not that good. They rank 20th out against the tight end. And the wide receiver core has a matchup bottom half, but Chicago ranks 13th against them. So those would be I'd be looking at those. I would look at definitely a Lion stack here. Goff, Gibbs, Brown, Laporta. I don't know if you can afford to put all of those in there unless something opens up, but those are the players that I'd use in there. Then we get the Chargers, Green Bay. Now, we know Green Bay's offense has been up and down this year. They have put up a ton of points, but they're not winning a ton of games. The Chargers' defense is bad, and we will look at both of them. Green Bay's defense is pretty good against the opposing quarterback. They rank 3rd, so Herbert is a little iffy, but they're not good against the run. Austin Eckler makes sense to me. They rank 24th. The wide receivers, now Keenan Allen is questionable. I think he'll play. But the players that I feel confident about using would be Herbert, Eckler, Keenan Allen. That might be it. Or maybe a little bit of Quentin Johnston. That's about it. I don't trust the tight ends here. I don't trust the lower wide receivers either. And I really don't want much to do with Josh Kelly. So we move over to Green Bay. Now, they have a fantastic matchup. If you look at this, the Chargers' defense is very, very bad. So Jordan Love makes sense. They rank 27th against the quarterback. I absolutely love that. Aaron Jones, I don't know what to get out of him. He was not effective last week. He's got a great matchup, though, against the Chargers. This would be the get-right game, the get back into it, the let's get the yardage, let's get the touchdowns. Aaron Jones is capable of a 3-touchdown game. I'm not saying it's in this one, but if there is a matchup that he could do something like that with, it would be this matchup. So I am looking at Jordan Love. I am looking at Aaron Jones. This is where we get iffy. Watson's wide receiver 1, clearly. But he is cheaper than Dobbs. He's got to be there. He's the number 1 guy. Dobbs, Jaden Reed has been involved. Luke Musgrave has a ton of targets there. I would use Love, Jones, Watson, Dobbs, and Musgrave in this matchup because of how bad the Chargers offense has been this year. The Raiders versus the Dolphins. Now, the Dolphins are coming off of a bye week, so they're rested. They're, healed up, whatever. They went to Germany, and then they had a bye week. You've got Aiden O'Connell versus Tua. So looking at this, really the only players that make sense for Vegas to even consider, O'Connell, Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams. You could throw in a little bit of Jacoby Myers, but you can see Devontae Adams had 52% of the targets last week. For whatever reason, they got a new head coach. They decided, hey, let's throw it to our superstar. It makes sense. So if you're going with Devontae Adams, I'm okay with an Aiden O'Connell and a Josh Jacobs stack here. Miami's defense has been iffy. They've been up and down as well. They ranked 16th against the quarterback, 12th against the running back, 19th against the wide receiver, 21st against the tight end. But Michael Mayer, think he did have a touchdown. I think he did have a touchdown. Was it Monday night? I think it was, or Sunday night, one of the games, one of the primetime. He was the first touchdown there. The majority of the primetime games have been terrible. But yeah, I would look at Meyer here. It would be a tournament. It would not be. It wouldn't be anything. It wouldn't be cash for sure. So O'Connell, Jacobs, Devontae Adams, maybe a little bit Jacoby Myers, maybe a little bit of Michael Meyer here. We get to Miami. We know what Miami gets. So the Raiders have actually been pretty good against the quarterback. They rank 8th on DraftKings, 9 on FanDuel. I'm still okay with that because Tua is Tua. He can run, he can throw, he's got the targets to throw to. You've got Tua, you've got Mostert, Devin Achan. It sounds like he might be back this week. Now, I don't know how that's going to affect it. He's not in. We didn't put him on here yet because I don't know. He's looked good in practice apparently. The Raiders have not been good against the running back. That is the one position that they've actually gotten lit up against. So is it Mostert? Is it Wilson? Is it Ahmed? Is it going to be Devin? Like, what are we going to get? Maybe a little bit more clear once the weekend comes. So that's something to monitor. But I would use Tua. I would look at Mostert and maybe figure out what's, the news that comes out with the running back position. Now, while the Raiders have been really good against the running or wide receiver, they rank 6th. It's still Tyreek Hill. He's fast. He's almost untouchable. Jalen Waddle. I would use those two. Cedric Wilson for tournaments. Braxton Berrios tournaments. Probably not using. I would look at Cedric Wilson though for sure. I wouldn't use Durham, Smythe, and Julian Hill. So the players that I feel confident about will be Tua, Tyreek, and Jalen. And then it'll depend on which running backs we've got. So is it going to be Raheem Mostert? Is it going to be Jeff Wilson? Who is it going to be? That is the question of the day. So that's kind of my thought in this game. I like both sides. Obviously a little bit more. I think people are going to be on Miami. I think a sneaky stack could be the Raiders and figuring out which ones you want to go with there. So that's kind of my thought in this one. The current over-under for the Miami Dolphins, it's got a 46.5 over-under, but the Dolphins are a 12.5 point favorite. If for whatever reason the Dolphins do go up that big, the Raiders are going to have to throw the ball. That kind of takes it out of the hands of Josh Jacobs, but that looks like Aiden. That looks like Devontae, maybe a little Jacoby Myers, maybe a little bit of Michael Meyer, whatever. I don't know if he's the killer. I don't know. But if it follows the script of, 12.5 big underdogs, they're going to throw the ball a ton. Now, this is something to monitor because it did open as a 10, but it's moved up to 12.5 as of Thursday. So be on the lookout for that. We'll update this Saturday. Or I might update this daily just so you guys can see. But you can see the Dolphins have a 28. They have the highest implied team total of the week. Raiders have 22.2. So you can come in here. You can, scroll through. You can sort it however you want. If you want to sort it by the line, the over-under, the implied points. So, yeah, just to let you know, that's kind of what we're looking at. I think people are they're going to see this line and be like, let's go Dolphins, which is a completely okay thing. Let's buck the trend a little bit. Let's go under and let's look at the Raiders because that's where you're going to make your money. So that's my thought in this game here. We move to the Giants at Washington. So the Giants are bad. They are very, very bad. Bad. Tommy DeVito. They have a great matchup, though. So if you go here and you go look at points allowed, Washington gives up the most amount of points to the quarterback. They give up the most amount of points to the wide receiver, or second most amount of points to the wide receiver. So in that theory, it's like, okay, the Giants are in a good spot. But it's not. It's not. Barkley kind of let us down last week for the most part. Then you don't know who they're going to throw to. There's that many wide receivers on the team. Could throw to anyone. Look, it's spread out so much. This is the one where you're going to have to get a little creative. I think Cager had a touchdown last week, I believe. Washington's defense has been bad. Giants' offense has been worse. That's the problem. Tournament-wise, I'm okay with the Giants. It's DeVito. It would be Barkley. And then, honestly, it really depends. throw a stone and see if it hits water, and that's your wide receiver there. So you could look at, target share. Yeah, Darius Slayton has the most amount of snaps for wide receivers, targeted 15% of the time, but he tied with Sterling Shepard in target percentages last week. So it's really up in the air there. Then you've got Washington. Now we saw what Dallas did last week against the Giants defense. Sam Howell has the most amount of passing attempts. I think he's almost at 400 passing attempts. By a good margin, I think, if I remember. Now, I have all of these on the website, so if you go to the website, you can find it. But just kind of looking at that, he's in a good matchup here. Giants defense has been okay, about middle of the pack against the opposing quarterback. They haven't been good against the running backs. They're 18th. Brian Robinson makes sense. You can see on the season rushing almost 60% of the time. Last week was 57% as opposed to Antonio Gibson. So I would use Sam Howell. I would use Brian Robinson. I would use McLaren. I would use Curtis Samuel, maybe a little bit of Jahan Dotson. But Jahan Dotson's been very up and down. Then Logan Thomas is one. He's a cheaper option. But the Giants have actually been good against the tight end. So this is one where if you look at the Vegas numbers here, it's got the second lowest over-under at 37. The Commanders are a 10-point favorite, and it's gone down. The over-under has gone down a half a point there. So tournament-wise, I'm okay with both of these teams. I think I'd probably – it's up in the air. Both of these defenses have not been good, so I think you couldn't go wrong either of these teams. Dallas at Carolina, I believe, is going to be, what is it? Cowboys, Panthers, 42 over-under. Cowboys are a 10.5-point favorite. They were a 17-point favorite last week. The problem is if they go up big, then they're going to sit. But a Dak Prescott, ever since someone said CeeDee Lamb was not a wide receiver one, he's absolutely gone off. I don't care about this matchup here. I think CeeDee Lamb is a lock for at least a touchdown. I would look at Prescott. I would look at CeeDee Lamb. I would look at Jake Ferguson. And then, you're going to pay a pretty penny for Tony Pollard. I don't know if I trust him enough, though. Definitely something to watch. But Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Ferguson, for sure. Tony Pollard, I'm okay with. Not in love with. But I could use some of them. Then we've got Carolina. They're going up against this defense. Bryce Young has not looked good this year. We know this. He's looked pretty bad. The defense has been really good. Dallas is our number one defense in the rankings. And if you haven't seen the rankings yet, there will be a video out. We'll put the rankings out. The rankings are already on the website, but I'll do a video for it. And then Sunday mornings is when I update the rankings. We take out the Thursday night game and any of the news that came out during the week. So Carolina, probably not using Carolina at all. I'd use Dallas defense and I'd use Dallas offense for my players. Tennessee at Jacksonville. Kind of just going through there. So Tennessee at Jacksonville. Tennessee's looked bad. Probably don't want to use much at all. I don't know why they didn't trade Derrick Henry, which they should have. Jacksonville's defense has gotten lit up. Jacksonville's offense hasn't looked the best. They do have a good matchup here. So I'm probably off of Tennessee offense. I would look at Jacksonville. I would look at Trevor Lawrence. I would look at Etienne Jr. I would look at Calvin Ridley. Christian Kirk. Obviously, Zay Jones was arrested, so I haven't seen. Let's see. Yeah, so Zay Jones missed 6 of the last 7 games due to a knee injury, and now he was arrested for domestic battery, so he's probably going to miss, I would assume, the rest of the season? Probably. I love how it says Jones' knee was arrested. So Zay Jones is out, so that would obviously bump up Kirk and Ridley. I would use Trevor Lawrence. I would use Kirk, Ridley, Etienne, and Evan Ingram. Ingram does not have the best matchup, so Tennessee is actually ranked second best against the opposing tight end, but 22nd against wide receiver, 11th against the running back and quarterback. So in this situation, probably fading Tennessee. I'm looking at Jacksonville offense there. Now we got Arizona at Houston. We've seen Kyler Murray came back last week with a vengeance. Tua is my normal quarterback. He was out last week. Then I got Kyler. I won. Let's just put it that way. But we've got Kyler. Houston's offense ranked 21st against the quarterback. James Conner was back last week as well. They ranked 16th. They ranked 10th against the opposing wide receiver. They ranked 24th against the opposing tight end. So the players that make sense that I would use here would be Kyler Murray, would be James Conner. Depending on who we're going to get for the wide receiver, you saw Rondale Moore had 25% of the targets last week. He's a cheaper option. I would use him. He's $3,300 on DraftKings. I think a Murray, Connor, Moore, and Trey McBride stack, or a combination of those, maybe Murray, Moore, and McBride, I'm absolutely okay with. McBride has been on fire lately, saw 29% of the targets last week, the most amount of targets, and Houston ranks 24th against them. Sign me up for an Arizona stack. Then we got Houston. We know that Houston's been going off. We see that Arizona's defense is 18th against them. They rank 26th against the opposing running backs. Devin Singletary. Is Dameon Pierce? He's questionable. Hasn't played since week 8. Singletary comes in. I don't think he's done much, right? Or has he? He did last week. He did against Cincy. Had 150 yards on. He had 30 attempts and 150 yards, a touchdown, and then one reception for on 2 targets for 11 yards. So 26.1 at 4,700. He's gone up to 5,300. Is any good matchup here? If Pierce is out, I love Stroud. I love Singletary. Tank Dell. I love Tank Dell, especially if Nico Collins is out this week again. So, if Nico Collins is out, Tank Dell, I'm all over as well again. Robert Woods is a cheap option, had a touchdown last week. I'm okay with that. Dalton Schultz is questionable. If he's in, I like him as well. So, I love this matchup. I'm not using defenses with either of them. I would obviously use offenses all together here. Those are the players that I love, though. So, these are a couple of my favorite stacks that I would use. I think we need to just, if you need to take some exposure away, I think these will go under-owned a little bit. That and the Raiders, I think the Raiders stack might go under-owned as well. So just kind of looking at that, that's my thought process in this game. I don't want anything to do with the defenses here. There's very few defenses that I want to use this week. These are not even on my radar to use. So I would definitely be using stacks for both sides here. Move to Tampa Bay at San Francisco. We've got, let's see. We're coming into here. We've got Baker Mayfield. I don't really want much to do here. So the San Francisco's defense has been really good. Baker's been okay. I mean, you can see San Francisco's secondary has given up. They're ranked 21st here. That's Mike Evans. That's Chris Godwin. Now, Mike Evans, I think, dropped like 2 touchdowns last week. If you want to go contrarian, I think a lot of people are going to be on San Francisco's defense. We could pivot to that. And I'd feel confident with pivoting to a Tampa Bay. It would be contrarian stack, but a Tampa Bay stack. Now, I'm not saying it's going to do anything. I'm not saying you're going to get anything out of it, but I think it's going to be very under-owned. If you're one that plays like 20 or 30 lineups, you build them by hand, Tampa Bay is a stack I would look at. I would look at Baker Mayfield. I would look at Mike Evans. I would look a little bit at Chris Godwin. Cade Otton would be a cheap tight end option there. Rachaad White might be as well. Those are the ones I'd look at. I think everyone's going to be on San Francisco, and like it's a good spot for them. But then you look at Tampa Bay's offense or defense, they've not been as good as maybe you remember. So you look at this, San Francisco, they're good against the run. They are. But they got Christian McCaffrey. He's going to be pissed he didn't get that. They fed him the ball and he didn't get that touchdown to break the record. He's only tied it at 17 straight games. I think they come out with a vengeance here. I think Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, Ayuk, Samuel, depends if Samuel's in there. I like them. George Kittle is another one that I'd look at as well. You can see against the wide receiver, they rank 25th. Against the tight end, Tampa Bay ranks 18th. So I am all in on San Francisco stack. I love me a sneaky Tampa Bay stack as well. We've got the Jets at the Bills. I don't know what to expect out of this offense for the Jets. Buffalo's defense has been pretty good. We know that. The Jets' offense has been very hit or miss this year. Zach Wilson sometimes he looks good, sometimes he doesn't. They just got rid of Michael Carter, so it's Breece Hall, obviously. Buffalo's run defense has not been good. They rank 21st. So Zach Wilson, I'm okay with. Breece Hall's in a good spot. They wanted to give some exposure to Abanikanda. If you look at his price, he's 4,000, and you look game log wise, has not played. He's third on the depth chart, obviously behind Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook. That's definitely something to look at if he's in there. Garrett Wilson obviously is the go-to. 32% of the targets this year, 37% last week. So if you are going with Zach Wilson, obviously Garrett Wilson is the guy. Maybe a little bit of Tyler Conklin, but yeah, I don't know how much exposure I'll have to this Jets defense or offense. The defense has been pretty good, especially against you've got Buffalo, you've got Josh Allen. Buffalo's just been turning the ball over a ton this year. They lost the game against Denver, which they were a 7-point favorite, I believe. Josh Allen hasn't looked himself. Maybe he bounces back. James Cook has looked good. Latavius Murray is still vulturing touchdowns from Cook. Then it comes down to the crybaby Stephon Diggs. No matter where he goes, he is getting paid a ton. He is the wide receiver 1. He was on a good offense before what's happened lately, and he's still crying. His brother is crying for him now. I don't understand. But as we've looked, the players that cried to their quarterback got fed the ball the next few games. A.J. Brown came out in the reporters and said whatever he said because he wasn't getting targeted, didn't have yards. Then he put up like 7 straight games of 100-plus yards. Stephon Diggs does not have a good matchup here. The Jets secondary, they are very good. They ranked number 1 so far through 10 weeks against the opposing wide receiver. So that's definitely something to monitor. Not a good matchup for him. Tournament-wise, contrarian, I'm okay with. Other than that, though, he doesn't have a good matchup here. Your tight end, Dalton Kincaid here, he has a good matchup. So I think a little bit of Josh Allen, James Cook, Dalton Kincaid will go under-owned. If you want to throw in Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, I'm okay with. Those are definitely tournament options. They are not cash options today. Then we move to Seattle at the Rams. We've got, if you look at this, this is the last game because then we've got Sunday Night Football game, Monday Night Football game. So the offense is here. You look at Geno Smith, Rams secondary, their defense ranks 15th, basically right in the middle against the opposing quarterback. They rank 9th against the running back, but they are 23rd, 9th against the running back and wide receiver, and then they're 23rd against the tight end. Looking at this, Geno had a good story last year, come back and just dominating, but a good game last week, put up 369 yards against Washington. Again, Washington's defense, they're very bad. They're the worst. Then didn't have a good game. I mean, there's some times he hasn't had – that's his first good game since week 2. He's only really had 2 good weeks. He missed week 5 unless they had a bye. I assume they had a bye. That's the problem here. He's not got, middle of the pack matchup, but he has not looked good this year. He looked good against the worst defense in the league, which that's what you're supposed to do because, in fact, they are the worst defense in the league. That is the point. So when you kind of get into that, that's where we're at. Players that make sense to use, if you're going with a stack, Geno, Kenneth Walker, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, obviously, Jackson Smith and Jigba, cheaper option at 4,300 I'm okay with. Tight end wise, it really depends. They're not getting targeted that much. Fant was 7% last week, 6.97% on the year. It's a good spot for them. They're just not getting targeted. Then we got the Rams on the other hand. Stafford seems like he's back. Let's see. Yeah, so no limitations, look to be back. Hasn't played since week 8. Hasn't been the best this year. Hasn't put up 250 yards since week 4. He started off really well. 334, 307. That was against San Francisco. 269 against Cincy. 319 against Indy. And then it's kind of gone downhill. And it's his wide receivers have gone downhill as well. The running back situation, they're in a good matchup. Darrell Henderson, Royce Freeman, they're in a good matchup. I don't know if I trust them enough. But then it's Cooper Kupp, it's Puka, it's Tutu. They're in a good matchup. You can see Seattle's in the middle of the pack here against wide receiver, 16th, and against the tight end, also 16th. So definitely something we could look at. I don't trust the Rams offense that much. If you look at, like Puka was on fire, obviously before Cooper Kupp was here. Hasn't done much for a couple of weeks. He's kind of slowed down. The targets are still there. The receptions are not. Then you got Kupp. We look at him. It's kind of 3 straight games of nothing. Obviously, we were without Matt Stafford. He's his dude. So, with Matt Stafford here, some good games here. So, 2 really good games in a row and then 3 not so good games. Matt Stafford's back. Probably Cooper Kupp will be back there in the middle of the pack. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Kupp go for a couple of touchdowns this week and they 100-plus yards. So, in this matchup, I do like Stafford. Tournament-wise, I'm okay with some of the running backs. Wide receivers, I'm okay with Kupp and Nakua. Probably more Kupp, though. And then I don't really want much to do with the tight ends, to be completely honest with you. So that is the main slate breakdown. If you have questions, let us know. This is just one part of what we offer. Again, you can go to fantasyteamadvisor.com. We do rankings videos, or we do rankings. So we've already got all the rankings out right now. If you want to go check it out, go check it out. The current rankings are down with the NFL, so go check that out. The volume report's been updated. The snap counts have been updated. Projected ownership and the projections, those will come out usually Friday. We usually put those out Friday or Saturday. Points allowed by position obviously is out there. Vegas odds are out there. We will update them this weekend. The cheat sheet, we're working on it. The matchup tool of the Bacon Station, which you just saw, we went through it. The chalk is out there, and our prop bets usually will trickle in Thursday night through Sunday morning when we've got some of that. So if you have not checked it out, go check out fantasyteamadvisor.com. Click the links in the description of this video. That will help us out. Go check out the website. Check out the articles, all the views. Help us out as well. So that's what I've got in this video, guys. Good luck on this slate. And as always, let's bring home the bacon this week, guys. Peace.